Hey everyone, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Although I am a licensed clinician, I'm also just a person. I love to be able to be in my real life and speak from that point. And that's where this podcast is coming from. So enjoy.
Searching for truth, looking for answers. There must be a way to another day.
Hey everyone, what's up? It's Aaliyah.
And Joe.
Book, 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 book. Wait, what's that? Burr, 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 burr. Are you still adding that?
Only when you do it. I don't do it. I can't just throw it in there when you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rewind. You know how I also did rewind? He also said that too. Anyway.
Jamaican version. Is that Jamaican? I was like,
rewind, and then it was like,
and then they play it again and they scratch it in.
Yeah, but it was always for those reggae jams too.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, man. What's up? Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. I'm squinting my eyes a little bit because I have a slight migraine, and these lights that are in here right now are really fucking with me. But
speaking of that, light is not correct. It's gonna drive me nuts all the time.
Man. So
and you have a hair right here.
And I have a hair. What is going on?
I don't know. This will drive me nuts the whole show.
Jesus.
Hold on.
Oh my God. This guy's got to. He's got to move the fucking light. This is what's happening. We can never just come on and just start hard, you know?
Which is what we just attempted to do that right now.
We can never come on and start hard.
We're going to start off all right. Anyways.
Damn. So what's up? So quick check up. Just follow up with us before we get into what we're going to be getting into today. So I guess we still have COVID, but like now this whole entire thing, just to give everyone a recap. So basically, from my understanding now, from speaking to many healthcare professionals, as well as the CDC has stated.
You spoke to the CDC?
As well as that.
Dr. Fauci.
Now, you can test positive for COVID if you had it, right, for anywhere up to a month, which is why they've now lowered also the quarantine time to 5 days, because after 5 days, you're really no longer contagious. So technically, me and my daughter are still testing positive, but we've been given the green light to go and resume our life as normal. So that's what we're doing now.
They couldn't figure that out a year ago?
No, I guess
like just
not.
like common sense, you get a virus, you're only contagious for so long. Like they just figured that out last week.
I don't. Well, yeah, but they didn't know. But then, you know, I mean, like this thing is new. They're still trying to figure it out. You know.
Well, now,
blah, blah, blah.
Did you hear about how they're allowing people, doctors or whoever, to come to work?
Yes, that is
with
true.
COVID.
That's true.
But they just fired everybody for not getting a vaccine. So you can have the vaccine and have COVID and work. But if you don't have the vaccine, you can't work.
Yeah, that's actually true. I'm not going to say who I know that from. And many doctors I know, but that's fact. That's happening.
It's not just doctors, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, if that doesn't help you bring this into like focus of like, we are in cuckoo world, I don't know what does, you know?
Oh, damn. I wish I fucking put more. I hate when I think I put enough agave in my tea and I'm like, yes, it's on point. And then I like get situated, I get comfortable, and I go to drink like I'm about to kill it. And it's just missing an extra
Maybe it's
little
sitting at the
smidge of
agave. Did you stir it?
Of course. I'm a stirrer.
Because sometimes it just sits at the bottom, you know?
No, I'm a stirrer. So that's what's going on with us. And we also booked our trip out of here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm getting the fuck up out.
It's a thing to do.
Of winter in Rhode Island. And I'm going back home. That's right. I consider Florida still home. All right. And I am proud. I'm a proud Floridian.
You're really,
/ New Yorker.
You're really, you know,
But man,
excited and confident about being here. You're like, I can bang out the winter, no problem. And we got one snow, and she's like, fuck this shit.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I wasn't even excited. Like the first time it snowed, I was like, okay, this is fun. The dog and my daughter are gonna love it. Blah,
this
blah,
is
blah.
the first like real.
But this is the first real, and like I woke up and all I thought immediately was, oh, now I gotta shovel this fucking shit. Like I wasn't. Yeah, I was like, this is bullshit. Like I wasn't even excited about it at all.
Yeah.
Minus the sledding. The sledding was fun.
Yeah. Well, it did give us an activity to do together, though. You know, shoveling the driveway.
We shoveled the driveway.
It's snow. It was nice.
And then you feel like you have COVID or you're on
your
Molly.
nose is just
either or because you're hot and you're cold. You're hot and you're cold.
Yeah,
you're sweaty, but then you're freezing. I don't know whichever one. Pick one.
By the way, I still am negative. Always negative. Always have been negative.
Joe's still negative.
I'd like to take another test to decide whether I am completely negative or not.
Whatever. My mom's also negative testing now, thank goodness.
But now it's the justification. Everybody's like, well, you know, you could test positive for the next month. But before it was like when I took the test 5 days later, then it's like, oh, you missed the window.
But I think
now
Joe's
you're
not
still
understanding,
negative.
Joe, but I also think what you're not understanding is that I do want you to consider, though, that these rules or whatever that people are saying about all this virus shit, like everyone's bodies are different. So the way that my body may go through something is going to be different from your body. I just want to be clear.
Exactly the reasons
will say
why
that.
you're right. Exactly the reasons why these mandates are stupid. Agreed?
Okay.
Okay. It's about the mandates, not about the vaccine.
Anyway, we're heading back to Florida. I'm fucking excited.
Yeah, she's trying to change the subject. So we're getting back.
I didn't speak to Joe for like almost 2 days over this COVID schmovid stuff. I can't even take it anymore. But we're going back to Florida. I'm excited. We have a hotel. We got our flights. We're going. And I'm going to fucking soak up the sun and my friends. And I'm just going to be so excited.
Just sit out there, beach, eating some good food.
I'm really just here in Rhode Island waiting for us to, at some point, move back to Florida. I don't know.
Oh, that's where you're at now?
I don't know.
We haven't had a full summer in Rhode Island yet, though. So, you know,
yeah, and
summers in Rhode Island are pretty cool.
I do actually love the summer here. Yeah. I do. It's like actually like one of my faves.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You just got to wait for it, that's all. Just going to wait till May.
However, I am a new owner of a pair of Doc Martens with the fur on the inside, and I love them. Can't wear those in Florida.
That is true.
You know?
I mean, you could.
Not with the fur on the inside.
You
well,
can,
no,
you
I
can.
could.
Yeah,
I could.
like around this time of the year.
When it gets like 70, when it gets to 70 degrees in Florida,
we used to wear like
totally
sweatpants and shit. Yeah,
absolutely.
you totally rock that.
Right. But now I'm afraid it's going to be too hot because now I'm used to here. So now I'm like,
but that'll switch. How long did it take for you to like
adjust to here?
Adjust a few months, right?
Yeah, I feel like it took
2-3
rather
months.
quick.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get into today's, since you're all ecstatic about today's topic?
I mean, it's kind of along the lines of like what we normally talk about here on Convenient Truth, which is the truth. Now,
our truth.
Right, our truth.
I want to be clear.
Truth. Right.
We're the Keens. It's a convenient truth.
Convenient.
May not be your truth, but it's the convenient truth.
That is true. Yeah, no, I was thinking the other day, and I was like, because we have been watching several movies lately that have to do with like, you know, looking inside and just
Power of the Dog on Netflix. Looking inside.
Yeah, and then the one last night.
And then a lot of displacing and projecting going on in that movie too. The Lost Daughter on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
So I started thinking, I was like, you know, why don't we have a podcast that specifically talks about, because this is something that I notice on a daily basis because of who I am. But what is the avoidance of truth? Like, there is a strong avoidance of truth, that not just because of like whatever COVID or Donald Trump or whatever.
Yeah.
This has been going on for many, many years. Like, you deal with it all the time with patients, I'm assuming, right? Because they come in and you basically have to help them figure out what their truth is, like the deep down truth that's affecting them now, the truth that they buried, that they didn't want to look at, and it's affecting their lives now, right? So you have to go back, look at it, talk about it, absorb yourself into that whatever that shit was, so you can overcome it, right?
Right.
It's the thing everybody knows that they need to do and need to look into themselves or whatever, but everyone, including me at times, avoids certain aspects of it. They'll only go so deep, you know? And this is a long kind of question that we'll keep talking about, but initially, like, what are your thoughts on general reasons why people avoid the truth?
So this is interesting how this whole entire thing, how this topic came about, because Joe came to me last night and he was just like, hey, I feel like we should do a podcast on, and just an episode on why people are resistant to just seeing the truth, right? And so for me, I'm like, Joe and I think we have two different brains, so we think differently. So for me, I'm like, well, that's a easy question that I can answer for you in 2 seconds, right? And so for me, it's like, well, because it's uncomfortable or it's scary, or, people just don't want to fucking acknowledge the truth, because the truth will slap you in the face and bring out all this deep, dark fucking feeling, unpleasant shit that you don't like to feel. And so why not avoid it? Of course, if you have an option to, then right. So that's what people do. And so I answered it very quickly for him. And so then he's like, okay, but why? And I'm like, I just told you why. Like, the why is just that not all people, but some people find it very difficult to be able to sit in a feeling. Usually they are the most unpleasant feelings, such as sadness or guilt, shame. Those suck. Embarrassment, grief, loss, right? And so rather than sit in it, and rather than really actually sit in the truth, then the brain goes into protect mode. And I think I've said this before, and I use that word, protect mode, meaning it's your brain's version of protecting you, right? So it's basically putting up all these defense mechanisms to not let you really sit in the truth.
We talked about this the other night.
Right, okay.
Everybody has a different protection.
Yeah. So that's what it does.
What is it? Everybody has a different perspective on what protection actually means, right?
No, but this is actually has to do just with like the brain. Like, all of our brains protect us in some way, shape, or form, okay? Usually how a brain will protect us, again, I'm using these...
quote unquote.
Right. Protect us is through certain defense mechanisms, such as rationalizing, minimizing, intellectualizing, avoiding, disconnecting, dissociating, These are all forms and things that the brain does to, quote unquote, protect us. At the time, I guess we see that it is protecting us, because it's not allowing us to really have to sit in the reality of stuff that we probably need to sit in. So we're just continuing to live our lives however we're living our lives. But long term, it's not really doing anything. It's actually hindering, right? So that's what that is. So then the other thing I have to that is that not just that people don't want to sit in those feelings. I think it's also that it could also be based on your environment in terms of just how you also learned, right, to deal with things. So it may not be that it may not have anything to do with the fact that I want to run and hide. It just has to do with the fact that maybe I saw other people run and hide. And so you know what you know. And if that's your environment, that's what you grew up in, then for you, that's fucking normal. Right. So now I'm doing the same shit, and now it's a cycle. You know?
And also, yes, that's the one I think I agree with the most, is like the environment.
You don't agree with the brain?
No. I agree with all that stuff, but I think the most prevalent one in our society is environment. Because think about it, people are doing this on a daily basis and they don't even realize it. Like, I don't know, like things that you do on a daily basis that you're just like, you should be doing things to maybe better yourself or look into yourself, but people are constantly doing, like, on their phones, watching TV, watching movies, whatever, doing things that are distracting them from what the work that needs to be done on the inside. Everybody has work to be done on the inside. Everybody does, right? So if a child is raised in an environment where that's all they do, they don't really talk about their feelings, they don't talk about anything, the mom, the dad, they're just watching TV every night, they're everything is about whatever has going on the elsewhere outside of you. And I think that's their main thing. Because imagine if culture shifted, right? Obviously, this would take some time, but imagine if we all lived in a culture where it was normal to just give children the actual truth of what's going on. Like, there is no Santa Claus. That's just one stupid one. But, growing up, my dad used to like smoke weed and shit, and he thought that we didn't know, but we knew. So just fucking say, Daddy and Uncle or whatever, we go and do this thing and just talk about it, right? Now, these are just little fucking things, but you don't realize how they affect the kid in the long run, right? Mm-hmm. And if we had a whole society that was based on just giving the fucking truth, we probably wouldn't be where we are today culturally, with everybody's like, well, we can't trust government and we can't trust the pharmacy industry or whatever. We would all just know. We would just know that's bullshit. This is real. This is what happened. Just because it's injected into our culture. Right now, it is taken out of our culture. It's not something that's around. And when somebody, I guess, like myself, comes to dinner, right? I'm all about just like, hey, what's going on? Like, and I really want to know, how has Bob been for the past 3 months that I haven't seen him? What have you been doing? Like, how's X, Y, and Z? Blah, blah, blah. Like, really go into depth of like how this person's been. Not just like, hey, how's it going? Oh, how are the fucking Patriots doing today? Like, anyways, I just went on a rant, but I think environment does have a huge role in the reason why people avoid the truth. Because the truth is nothing that's like should be that scary, right? It's only scary because we have a culture that avoids the truth.
I mean, I guess I hear what you're saying.
Imagine if you grew up as like a little kid
and everything was talked about.
Everything was talked about. Then it wouldn't be so scary to go back to when you were 3 years old and talk about whatever shitty thing happened then, because that's what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. It's like a regular thing that you do at that point. So everyone's doing it. So it's just what you just do, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess, but that's not how.
No, but what I like to do on this podcast is talk about thoughts and ideas, and inject other alternative ways of thinking.
Now, that's not how things are, I think, as a society, but in your own little microcosm of, let's say, your world, you can start doing that shit, right?
Well, I've been doing. That's what I do.
Like,
it's tough,
with your
though,
kids
when you have
and da-da-da-da and this
a spouse.
and that.
I'm not saying that there's probably a lot harder people to deal with, but I mean, like, we've come to somewhat of an agreement on the Santa Claus thing, I think, and
the Santa Claus thing, yes, we came to somewhat of an agreement. See, my thing is this, like, I am, though, more of a middle ground person than I think you are. You're very black or white, all or nothing, and I'm not. So for me, I'm like, yes, I understand that the truth is important, and this is just not even the truth about myself, the truth about just everything in life. The truth is important, whatever I feel the truth is. However, at the same time, I do think that there are moments and times where maybe it doesn't really need to be said for whatever reason. So, like, for example, let's see, in the 12 steps of AANA, and if anyone's listening to this who's a part of the program, I apologize if I chop this up, but I know it's either step 9 or 8, one of those steps that has to do with making amends. Now, a part of making amends also has to do with then being honest about something that maybe you weren't honest about before, telling the truth. And actually, they make it very clear to not make an amends if it's something that is going to hurt somebody else.
Right. But why is it going to hurt that other person? Because they're not ready for the truth.
Right, exactly. So it's like, I can't, just because I may be ready for the truth, and stuff like that, I can't force that on somebody else. That's not my place.
Right. Well, but what do you mean by like force? Like how would, like what's just some sort of like example?
I can only give like a really like horrific example, but because
Okay.
so like say somebody was like say that when somebody was younger, right, they were molested by their mother's father, which means their grandfather. Okay, let's say that now they're older, right, and now they have all this stuff going on, and let's say that as a part of that molestation that happened, then as let's say the kid was growing up, then there were lots of behaviors there, right? So there was lots of maybe resentment, lots of all this stuff because maybe they didn't feel protected, etc. Right? 'Cause no one knew, blah blah blah, and that came out towards mom, whatever. So maybe now as a part of the making amends moment, right, that maybe they may do if they're in the 12 steps or whatever, is to apologize, right, or take responsibility for a lot of the behaviors and stuff that they did, right, towards mom, right? And now, however, a lot of that stuff also was triggered by the sexual abuse from grandpa.
Right.
It would, so the suggestion of maybe not having to tell mom that her father sexually molested this person would be a suggestion. Because if mom was living a life that was in denial and she had no idea and she wasn't aware and she was just oblivious in her thing, right? And now here we are at 40 years old or whatever, and let's say her father's still alive, or maybe he's dead. We don't know, Like, what would be the need at that point to have to let mom know that? What would be the need to have to let mom know the truth at that point? Because understand, at that point, let's say if I was that person, at that point, it becomes really about me having to gain, just a sense of self and just, myself.
All right. I hear you.
I mean, going, you're like,
I hear
this
you.
is going.
But for me, it would be like none of that in that example. None of those feelings that person's been holding on to for all those years.
It's not the feelings we're talking about here. It's not the feelings we're talking about here. Fact. This person was molested by their grandfather.
Let me continue.
So that was...
All right, maybe, I don't know. All right, we'll just put feelings in quotes right now because it could be another word for this after I finish talking here.
But that doesn't, because we're not addressing the feelings here.
You're not letting me continue.
Okay.
Right? So, those quote unquote, whatever, feelings or whatever, were not necessarily that person's. They were actually the mother. Like the mother.
What are you talking about? Wait, hold on.
Because she was the one that was responsible for the child at that time. She chose to be oblivious or whatever it is. Now we're talking about this example that you gave. It is time at some point in her life to take responsibility.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. Why? Why is it anyone's why is it anyone's place to tell her that now it's her time to do that?
All right, I'm just putting myself in that person's shoes, and for me,
in which person's shoes?
In the person that got molested shoes, right? For me, it would be like I'm carrying this load, right? That at the time when I was a kid shouldn't have been my load. Like somebody should have done something, and that somebody's sitting right in front of me 40 years later, and here you go. Here's your fucking load. Now you go deal with it in therapy or whatever you got to do, but here it is. Now, private conversation, whatever, doesn't need to be public. Everybody needs to know. But for me, if that was me, I'd have to give it back. Not like I want her to like kill herself or something like that.
You don't know.
Well, that's not my responsibility.
It's not my responsibility, but we still don't know those things. It's like
and if that is so, I mean, whatever. I get what you're saying.
Listen, I get what you're saying.
You hear what I'm saying?
Of course, I hear what you're saying. I've gone back and forth with this with many people, but basically, like let's say, like in like a therapeutic lens, right?
Now, hold on. Let me. Like, I get what you're saying because culturally, and like you don't want to ruffle the feathers. Like you're just trying to like live your life or whatever.
It's not about ruffling the feathers. It's just about, well, when we're doing therapy, the focus is on really you. It's not on anybody else. So
Yeah.
I understand that you have had to carry this for all this time, but you don't anymore.
There's other
And
ways to
doesn't- and
release it. I get
Right.
it.
Like
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have to really, you
I
can do
get it.
this in so many different ways because it's no longer about your grandfather or your mom or this or that. You're 40 years old.
It is
Now
true.
it's about,
That's true. Yes. And I think if that person decided to
and they're not that powerful. So let's not make them that powerful.
Right. And I think that person that got molested in that scenario should get to a very healthy place and actually have released that energy however they've done, right? And if at the end of that, after years go by and they're perfect, they have their normal life now and they're over it, and if they feel as though, like, if the conversation comes up, like, I don't think you should be restricted from saying
No.
it,
Right.
you know?
If it's like a conversation that comes up, like, and let's say mom's
now
like
it's on
engaging
you.
in it, right? Like
Yeah.
now we're going to talk about it. But right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I guess there's a way, but I mean, it's up to every individual is different, and they can do it how they want. I just don't think that they should do it in a manner where they're like, "Fuck you," like, "Fuck you, mom, you did this to me, so here, take it back."
Well, that's how you initially
That was kind of
said it, though.
Well, I had to think about it. This is how I think, guys. I think, so I retract things a little bit sometimes. So I apologize for that. Initially, I was thinking that, but I wasn't thinking of it in a malicious way. I was thinking of it the way that I'm saying now, but I didn't say that then. Right? So yes, you're in a healthier place and you're just having the conversation, because if you're like, "Fuck you," and you're dumping it, then you're not, after that conversation, you should be perfectly fine, I guess.
No.
Technically, if you're doing it right and you're in a healthy place. But if you're doing it like, because that can linger on, that can be like this, "Fuck you," and every time you see your mom, you're like, "I told you that."
But
one
I don't
time,
think
and
I don't think even if you're in a healthy place after having a conversation like that, then you should feel perfectly fine at all.
Yeah, you're never gonna feel perfectly
I mean, fuck. Like
once
the
again,
trauma
retract.
is trauma, right? Like the truth is the truth. That's what happened. That's not okay, So yeah, it's still gonna feel a certain way, And it doesn't happen so magically like that. It takes time.
But, I feel honestly, if we lived in this honest, truthful world, you might be out of a job.
Of course.
Seriously. This, like, what I'm speaking of right now could solve all of mental health problems.
Well, not so
For the
much
most
though,
part.
because just because let's say society would be living this truthful society, right? And the world, and we would all say the truth, whatever that is. That doesn't mean though that
People
someone's
wouldn't disagree.
behaviors are going to just reflect that or change or anything like that. The behaviors could still be there, meaning certain unhealthy, irrational behaviors.
Right.
So actually, I would still be.
And like disagreements about
The truth.
things. Yeah. Or for what the truth is, right? Because
Which
everybody has
basically
their own
happens
perspective.
today.
Right, but okay.
That is how it is.
I'm just wanting to encourage a more open platform of like allowing people to communicate, which is being extremely restricted on social media.
Speaking of, Trump's Truth app is set to
Oh shit!
come out in February.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
mean,
know what that's going to be, but
I'm excited to see what that looks like. Apparently, there's these other apps as well. Somebody told me about the other day. It's not Parler. It was another. There's another. Oh, Telegram or something. You heard of that one?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Apparently, people are just on there speaking the truth too. So.
whatever their truth is.
Right.
Again,
right.
I want to be clear.
And that's where, I guess the conflict comes in. But, oh, man. When it comes to, say, COVID, I mean...
But we're not going to talk COVID.
Yeah, we won't talk about it, fine.
I'm sick of it.
But I'm just saying, like, there's things, there's factual things. There's a reason why you and a lot of people now, all of a sudden, are just like, oh, fuck it, we'll just get COVID and,
And actually,
whatever.
wait a minute. I kind of, as I'm thinking about this more, though, you always talk about the truth. You always talk about the truth. You want to, and I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you with what you're saying. However,
Yeah, challenge me.
because everyone has different brains, which that will always be the case, unless we were just all born the same way. Okay, so because we all have different brains, that means that we all have different perspectives, which means that because we all have different perspectives, we will always, no matter what, have different views of what the truth is. So,
Some people will, yeah.
no,
Just-
we will always. Your brain's different from mine.
I mean, on certain topics, like, it's not always, like, there's a lot of things that maybe
No,
we
for
would-
example, if there's something written in stone that says, like, okay, fact.
How's it get
this
written in
person
stone?
was.
I mean, the way you're talking is like anything could be anything at all times because there is maybe one person on earth that thinks something differently.
Not one
Is that-
person, several people. For
All right.
example, in what, like, so when we're processing things, right, coming from, okay, how you view your childhood with certain things, and let's say how your sister viewed your childhood with certain things, may be two different things.
Different perspective, yeah. From a
So
different-
therefore, her truth is going to always be different in some ways when it comes to that than your truth.
But if you say we're talking about my childhood, most likely what I remember
Is
would be
your
the
truth.
actual truth.
We don't know that though, because understand, the brain plays with us as well too. You ever seen those documentaries? This is very true. How children's brains can remember things in different ways, and the way that your brain stores memory based on the way that you remember it may not actually, in fact, be what truly happened.
All right.
But it's what happened to you because that's how your brain.
So let me ask you this question: then how, as a culture, as a society, do we ever get anything fucking done if that's the case? If that's how
This is-
like this is how we would want to live and like this, give everybody their freedom to fucking have whatever truth they want. Like, listen, I get it. You could believe whatever you want, but at the end of the day, there are certain things that make things factual. Like if 350 people in America, if 350 million people in America, if 300 million people experience the same experience and the other 50 million don't, there is something to say about that. There's something to say, okay, well, this is what actually happened because 300 million people actually did that.
So you're just going based on the
And maybe
majority?
the other
So
50
what about the
million
50
people
million?
didn't experience it, and they're just have their own perception of how it would have been if they did it.
But that's still their truth, though. And you
Right,
guys
but
still
if
have
you're
your own
trying to
truth.
listen, now we're getting to the point of like government and making laws that people abide by so we can have a fluent society, right? How would you ever do that? You would never be able to do that. It would just be whatever. Everybody does whatever. No, that's purple. No, I believe it's black. Okay, well, I guess it is what it is. We'll move on to the next thing, and nobody would agree on anything ever, and it would just move on in life. We have to have certain social contracts to have the society that we live in.
But just going back to even the colors reference, I think that is actually how the world is today. I mean, I've sat with you, let's say, and looked at fucking a color and been like, that's blue, and you have been so fucking sure
All right.
that it's gray, and I'm like, well, this is fucking blue, man. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I mean, we've actually had like this argument before, and this is why
Listen,
I call you colorblind.
Between individuals, that's fine. But if you're making rules for a society to abide by,
So what do? So
like,
give me an example.
Okay,
and now
all right.
while
Here's
we're
a great
going into
example.
this in terms of a rule that's fact or that's truth that
Here's a great
everybody needs
example.
to-
Stop sign. In my world, I don't even know what a stop sign is. What does that mean? Stop? Stop? Why? There's no need to stop here. I'm just going to go through that. Right? Which people can do now. But we've created laws as a society which the majority of us
Right.
have
The fact is
agreed
there was a
that the
stop sign.
stop sign means to stop. Right? The majority. There are people out there that are just like, fuck it, I'm going to do whatever I fucking want. And they can do that. But then we've created laws, all right? There's penalties if you break those laws. Now, this is...
So you're saying that a law that's written and that says what it is the truth?
Not necessarily.
Okay,
You're
well, then
right.
here
You're
we
right.
go,
Not
'cause-
necessarily. But I think, honestly, I think like what like the 10 Commandments originally was that there are 10 things that like the amount of people who ever existed at that time could agree on. Like, don't kill each other. You know, like there are certain things that we should agree on. Right? Obviously, there's plenty of people out there that think, I can kill that motherfucker if I want to, you know? But the majority of us are like, yeah, we shouldn't do that. I don't think that that's good, right? But in that other person's truth, quote unquote.
No, don't say that. It's their truth. Why are you putting quotation marks around it? Just because it's not yours? Or because the majority...
Well, even my truth, quote unquote, don't kill anybody, quote unquote,
because
is also a perceived truth that maybe the majority of people agree with. So I think that's
But
one
is
of
that,
them.
hold on, but see, but now I'm also confused. Is, let's say, thou shalt not kill, is that a truth or is that a fact?
Definitely not a fact,
Truth
because
and fact
people
are
get-
different things. I want to be clear.
It's definitely not a fact because people get killed all the time.
Okay.
It's a social truth that we've all...
It's a social belief.
Yes, and I think that there should be
Moral.
some of those, but literally a handful. Literally a handful. And I think that this is where government has gotten out of control. I mean, if you look at the fucking laws out there, there's literally laws from like 18 whatever that fucking tell you that you can't put ketchup on your fries or some shit like that. Or, you know, like dumbass fucking laws. A lot of them, like these stupid ones, like they're not enforcing, but they're there. If the government wants to fuck you on some shit, they'll pull it up. Be like, hey, that's law. That's the social contract that we all agreed on. Anyways, I mean, we're getting kind of deep on that. So that's where...
This is where you wanted to go with it.
Yeah,
You
but
wanted
that's
to go
where the
deep.
conundrum comes in when we're all trying to, quote unquote, find out, seek the real truth, right? Government, like kind of in social contracts, kind of collude or they kind of cloudy the water, smoke-filled, I don't know.
What are you talking about?
They kind of muddy the waters.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying in what the truth is, because then you have to have, if you're doing the government and the social contract thing, those are absolutes.
Okay, so my thing is this then. So when you make a statement then, and when you talk about the truth, and I want to be clear, we're talking about like pieces then of certain things in life, okay? Because right now you're talking about government, which are laws and stuff like that. And so I don't really know, which I feel is very different from, let's say, someone's truth of a color is blue versus this color is black.
Right, that's why there's no laws about fucking, like a whole fucking color chart saying this is this color, this is this color, this is this color, and we all have to agree on it. That's why we can disagree on those fucking things. We can't disagree on whether that was a fucking stop sign or not.
Okay, so then you're only then focused on, when we talk about truth, you're only focused on things that are, I guess, written in stone.
Well,
That's
now
kind of what I'm hearing.
once again, as we talk, I'm thinking and talking at the same time, and things are coming up, and that this brings up a good point, right? Like maybe the reason why a lot of people are starting to get upset with I know I'm bringing COVID back, but it's a relevant thing. The mandates say that a government puts in to wear masks or get the vaccine. Now, 2 years ago or a year ago even, those were not mandated by government. Those were truths and opinions of individuals deciding what's best for their own health. And they can either believe it is or believe it's not. And that's how, and society just like figured it out and it worked out fine. But then you get the government coming in and muddying the waters of what we've all always thought we could make decisions on, but now all of a sudden the government says, no, it's black or white, and you need to choose a side. And that's where a lot of our social problems with this whole like COVID and the mandates are coming into play. Not because like we clearly can all live as a society with having disagreements and not and just moving on with life, right?
You know what's interesting? I notice every time we have these conversations, it always with you goes back to that. It always goes back to government or politics or something of that sort. When for me, I'm like, when I hear the truth, I could talk about anything in terms of truth. I mean, there's so many other things in the world to talk about, but that's when we have a conversation for fucking centuries because what's your truth is not my truth, right?
Right, and you can keep going, and it's very like, hey, I'll learn something maybe, or you'll learn something maybe, and we could keep talking, right? But then when the government comes in and says, black or white, you choose, that's when it becomes an issue, I think. And I'm just realizing this right now.
Yeah. Do you know what's also interesting is that for me, I don't know. I don't really like... Okay, now when I say I don't live my life based on what the government says, meaning I don't like... It's not something that I even... Like, if I'm going about my day and I'm doing my thing, I'm not thinking about that shit. Meaning I'm present in my world. Mm-hmm. I'm living my life. I'm waking up. I'm going to work. I'm being the best fucking therapist I can be. I'm being the best fucking mom I can be. And I'm being the best fucking wife I can be. And that's what I'm fucking doing. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not really thinking about what the fuck so-and-so said today or what law. I'm just, like, living my fucking life. And these moments and things of you know, being faced with the truth are not just kind of come as I just kind of like go through my life. And I choose to do what I'm going to do based on my own thoughts and my own perspectives and my own everything. Mm-hmm. So I guess like when I hear you saying this and you're talking about like, because again, for you, it always goes back to government, it always goes back to politics. I guess I'm just kind of like, I don't really like, do I always wear a mask? No, because masks make me feel like I can't fucking breathe and I don't like them. So no, I'm not wearing a mask all the time. Does the government say to wear a mask all the time? Yes. Mm-hmm. Not doing it because... When
you go into a store, you do. When you go to the post office, you do. When you go to the airport, you do.
No. It's a choice.
It should be.
No. It is a choice.
Oh, so you don't have to fly on the airplane. You don't have to go to the restaurant.
Well, no.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, there's still choices here, I do believe. Right. So my thing is this. They're saying that, or these things that people are saying is like, okay, well, you have to wear a mask. Okay, well, I mean, so for example, I went to the grocery store the other day, and this has been since this mask mandate came out here in Rhode Island. So now apparently when you go into any store, you have to wear a mask. And then I'm wearing my mask just because I will take full responsibility. My personality type and my anxiety, I have a thing with like following rules, and that's just how I've always been. And we can chuck that to environment and to childhood and to childhood shit. Okay, like that's where mine comes from. Now, could I? So while I was in there were some people that weren't wearing a mask and they were breaking the rules, so to speak, right? And so that's fine. So be it. Do what you got to do. But for me, it's my choice not to because I don't like to break the rules. But for them, they're just like...
But is it because of some sort of deep down fear of like getting in trouble or
it doesn't have to do with the government. For me, it has nothing to do with the fear of getting in trouble. It has to do with a need to please and be perfect and do the right things. That's where mine comes from.
Quote unquote, the right thing.
Quote unquote, what my family or my father or whatever in my environment has installed in me and instilled in me in terms of the right thing. And then
back to the environment, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So all right. So you're talking about like the government thing, right? Like it's. I'm just realizing that that may be the reason, that the source of the reason why I always go back and I'm like annoyed with things that the government is doing because if you talk to anybody, they can openly state that like, all right, government at this point in the game in 2022 has made enough laws for us to abide by, right? Abide? Is that a word?
Oblige. Obliged by.
Okay.
Yeah.
To follow. So we don't need any more, right? That's basically how a lot of people probably feel, right? And now we're getting to the point, I think, with some of these laws, such as the mandates, that it's encroaching. I'm using all these big words today.
Yeah, but I don't think you're saying
maybe
them
I'm not.
right. You're using them, and I think you hear it in your head, but you're not saying them right.
I'm questioning all the words, right?
Yeah.
But it's really restricting our freedom of deciding what's best for ourselves and truth and honesty and what we think. What we've always just been known to be able to just go out and think for ourselves and make decisions about our family and our health and whatever. And now they're getting in on that, you know? And this is it. This is the reason why. They're not the reason why, but this is how they're doing it. Like this is why it's a big conflict in the country right now. Because they weren't in charge of that, making those decisions. They weren't in charge of that before. You were able to, and now all of a sudden a year goes by and now they're the ones making that decision. And all your life, however old you are now, you've been making that decision up until this point. Whether it's like going to get a colonoscopy or freaking eye exam or getting your teeth cleaned or whatever the fuck it is, you just decide, all right, my teeth are fucked up. I need to go to the dentist. It's the same thing, because if you're mandated to get a vaccine, it's like, you could have 2 years ago gotten a flu shot every year, or gotten the N1H1 vaccine, or whatever the fuck you want, whenever you want, or you're not. It's like up to you. But now it's not up to you.
Like, is there ever, though, a conversation that we can have about any of this stuff where it doesn't go back to...
Oh, I thought you waned me to explain the government part.
No!
Oh, you're trying to get away...
shit about the government. Yeah, I don't care about them.
Oh, all right.
Oh, God, I can't stand them. No.
But
so
here's the other thing.
Why, because when we first had this conversation last night about having this discussion on the podcast about truth, in my mind, I didn't think at all that... politics or government was because for me, I'm just so like they're there. They're always going to be there. It's always going to be the way that it is.
But it's always going to get
And so I'm like, I don't even want to fucking
this is a
whatever.
Good point though, because you're right. You feel like most people, right?
Well, it is.
But it's slowly coming in. At some point, then they're on your phones. They're tracking. It's like slow.
I understand that. So what are we gonna do about it? Someone tell me what to do about it.
Make a podcast and fucking talk about it.
But all we're doing is talk. All you do is talk about it.
That's all that needs to be done.
No, it's not. Action. Action needs to be done. Not talking about it.
There are people that will take more action.
Are you?
Listen, I don't know everybody on Earth, right? But I can guarantee you there are people doing more than a podcast to get this word out about what's going on and quote unquote speaking the truth about how to maybe there's a point. I talk about the 100th monkey theory all the time. Have you ever heard of that? I've told you about this. No?
I don't know.
I have told you, but I'll say it again. 100th monkey theory, a long time ago, supposedly there was this experiments on these monkeys by the military, and they put them on islands, right? And there was like 10 different separate islands, and we're doing different experiments on each island, right? So it was like 100 monkeys on each island. So say there's like 1,000 monkeys, right? And every day, the Navy, they'd go out to each island, they'd throw a bunch of potatoes on each beach, right? And that's what the monkeys ate, was fucking potatoes every day, right? So on one island, they noticed that one of the monkeys started washing the potato in the ocean before they ate it, because they were just dirty potatoes, right? And then all of a sudden, a few more were doing it the next day. A week later, half of the monkeys on that island were doing it. A month later, all the monkeys on that island were washing their potatoes before they ate it, right? Then they noticed another island where they started doing that. And then another one. And then what happened was there came a point where half of the monkeys on all of the islands were doing it. And then all of a sudden, one day, the switch just flipped. And all the monkeys, all at the same time, started washing their potatoes. So there's something in culture. This has happened. They've done experiments on this as well. That there's a, what's it called? Critical mass, where it's just this energy or something that floats through the earth that once something takes hold of a majority, it flips and everybody just does it. All right. So us doing a podcast, somebody else fucking becoming a congressman, another person fucking doing whatever, another person, just sitting out on the corner speaking, two people having a conversation in fucking Canada or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. Everybody's individually doing their own little thing. This is why everybody.
So then what about the people who are like tweeting and Instagramming?
Sure, they count too. But what I'm saying is like people think it like this whole thing is overwhelming. That's why nobody wants to get involved. They think that they need to become president to do something about it. They don't. You just have to sit around and fucking talk to one person, and then just have ideas and thoughts of like, maybe this could be different. How could it be different? I don't know. Let's talk about it. And then maybe somebody hears that and then they're like, wow, that was a great idea. Let's start executing on that,
So basically,
you don't have to do everything is what I'm saying.
So basically, you're having this conversation or doing this podcast as a way to be a part of it, but then hopefully somebody else who listens to this will actually take more action and do something more.
Maybe or maybe not. That's not the reason for doing this podcast.
No, I'm just,
The podcast is just putting out what our truth is, and maybe one of those truths takes hold, or maybe not. Maybe nothing ever happens.
Right.
But I'm doing my part. Mm-hmm. And I don't have to be aware of anything else or whatever anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter. We're doing our part. And you're right. It does always go back to government, and I don't know why. And I think it's because I'm so about like truth and like openness more so than the truth. It doesn't have, like you said, it can, everybody's truth can be different. But like, let's have a conversation about the differences. That's fine. Don't restrict me from thinking, and you think that like the government has nothing to do with it, and you're just like, whatever, it's over there doing its thing. But guess what? Every day, it's so embedded into the human life that they don't even notice it now. You drive down the street, you're abiding by all their rules just when you get in your car.
No. Like, meaning, okay, so this is the thing. So like, I do know that, and I'm aware of all that, but like, it's not something that because for me, I'm like, man, I could also use a lot of that energy and think about other things that I feel like I can actually really get a hold of and focus on more than that. Such as, I don't know, my family, my work, my patients, my fucking, myself.
Yeah.
That's what I do instead.
Right. But it's kind of almost like avoidance, right? Because these things are happening all around you.
Well, no, it's not avoidance. It's just that for me, so there are some people in this world who want to be an activist and who want to go out and who want to go really do some stuff, and that's great. That's amazing. And then there are some people like me who just are like, you know what? That's great. I love that we have people like that in the world, because that's just not where I'm devoting a lot of my time to. My time is being devoted to my family, my work.
Right. And even through your work, though, who knows? You've probably had thousands of patients at this point, right? And who knows? You don't even know what every single one of them is doing right now. They could be doing something because you brought them maybe to another level of understanding themselves or whatever. They could be doing something to help society in one way or other, whether it's got to do with the government or not. And that's really what it's all about. It's about making... You're right. Truth is truth. It's gray. It can be whatever. But as long as we can all discuss what we believe is the truth, That's what we're kind of pushing for.
I'm actually glad you said that. So by discuss, what do you mean by discuss? Because I consider a really effective, healthy, assertive discussion / conversation consisting of people within that dynamic that are not only willing to listen to the other person, but are also going to respect somebody else's boundaries and their beliefs. Okay? So I can have a conversation, discussion, right? But if at any point the other person, let's say I'm sensing is becoming very, they're kind of struggling with it, it's hitting whatever it may be, or they're like, I don't want to talk about this anymore, I'm going to also respect that as a person.
Right.
I'm not going to continue to go or to continue to challenge or and I'm not even going to really challenge that much because one, to be honest, it's not my fucking place. And two, I'm not here to like make you think like me or to make you see something. You can figure that out all on your own. That's for me, that's the wonderful world of life because everyone's different.
All right. Who's to say what's the right or wrong way to go about having these types of discussions?
I didn't say right or wrong. I said healthy, assertive. And that's no debate. You can go on fucking Google and look up what the fuck does assertive or healthy mean. Matter of fact. Right or wrong, we can all debate.
All right.
And I'm saying that because I'm challenging you. Because I hear you talking about all this stuff. Yet when you get into these discussions that you want to have with these people, you do a lot of pushing on, and you do a lot of
it's not
trying to make someone see something a certain way, and it's like, but for what? Like, let someone just be. So
I guess
yes, I do have your back in terms of having these discussions. I'm cool with that, but what I'm not cool with are people having these discussions and feeling the need to have to change someone's something when it's like, look, everyone has their own beliefs.
Well, what I'm
no one's going to change unless they want to change.
What I'm trying to talk about, and maybe what I've tried to do in the past, is just challenge people, challenge ideas, challenge thoughts, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't want to do.
Joe, so this is where I'm so glad we're having this conversation. So I challenge every day. I challenge every day from fucking
they get paid
10 o'clock, from 10 o'clock
They come to you asking to challenge me.
From 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I challenge. But understand something, okay? My challenge does not sound like yours. My challenge is not a challenge of constantly. My challenge is
you have a lot of schooling in doing what you do.
I'm going to challenge. I'm going to say some things, blah, 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 and then I'm going to read the room also. I'm going to check out. I'm going to peep their body language, blah, blah. And if I feel like it's too much, okay, I'm going to back up and let them just sit with that shit. I'm just going to let you sit with whatever the fuck it is that we talked about, and then guess what? I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that in a month or in 2 weeks or in 5 months or in 5 years, you're going to come back and we're going to talk about it, and guess what? I'm not even going to challenge you anymore.
Okay.
Because you're going to have all that shit fucking there.
So when this is, instead of a patient, it's your daughter or it's your father.
Oh my God,
say he lived with us. Say he lived next door. Right? It would be unavoidable sometimes to have discussions over and over.
Do you know why? Because I feel like there are people like, let's say Melton in this world, who are okay with, let's say, getting together as a family or just a unit and not talking about certain things. You, though, on the other hand...
I'm okay with it, too, as long as...
No, you're not. You have to talk about it.
If it's discussed prior to what we should talk about, what we cannot talk about... I do that all day long. I'm fine with that. I've talked about doing that with my cousin, right? If we have a discussion, if you said, all right, for this day, when we all get together, I don't want to talk about fucking whatever, COVID or something. Okay, done. But if nobody has that conversation with me...
You actually think, by knowing yourself, and I know you quite well, but you honestly fucking think that if your cousin was like, you know what? Look, let's get back, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. I just really don't want to talk about COVID anymore, okay? And let's say we're all out, and someone who doesn't know this rule that you guys have comes in and is like, oh, fucking Biden, You're not going to say shit?
I'm not talking to my cousin about it.
No, he doesn't want to hear it in the dynamic that you're in.
Well, then I need to explain to him that person doesn't know the rules.
Oh my God. I need to explain to him that person doesn't know the rules.
If he's getting upset at me because this person comes
This
out of
guy doesn't know
nowhere
the rules.
and starts talking to me about that shit, and he just so happens to be next to me, and what am I supposed to be like? I just can't say anything. Sorry, excuse me, sir.
No,
Can
you're
I,
going to be like,
can I
"Oh,
talk
look,
about
like, this is just like, let's just not talk about this stuff. It's not really like relevant to what we're trying to do. We're trying to chill." But no, you'd be like,
But maybe it is relevant to what maybe it is relevant. Maybe we just walked into a restaurant and they're fucking making us show our vaccine passports or some shit. You know? Listen, I can't control myself on all aspects at all times, but I can be respectful. So if we had a discussion and you said, all right, when we get together, like, I don't want to talk about COVID, I say fine. Because I know that I'm going to hang out with my cousin once a month or something like that. I can do that. If he says, all right, we're going to hang out every single day and you can never talk about COVID, then I'd be like, fuck you. You know? So there's all that they are is discussions. Like I can manage myself. I can prevent myself from doing certain things at times.
dude, I have not seen you do that once with
You know
COVID.
why? Because nobody's asked me to.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to think.
Nobody's ever said don't talk about that. Nobody.
I'm trying to think.
Everybody bitches about it and fucking complains and has their ideas of things, but nobody fucking says, Joe, can we?
Wait, you mean to tell me that you've never heard me around my family and everyone be like, you guys, let's just not.
Okay,
I definitely have said.
Yeah, for that moment. And then what do? Do I stop? Or do I just keep going and does everybody runs away from me and we're fucking...
Joe, you've kept going, and then guess what? You'll stop for a little bit, and then we'll all leave, and then guess what? We'll be sitting in the living room, and then we'll hear you keep going about something, and then guess what everyone's doing on the couch? Everyone's rolling their eyes, looking at me, and we're all like, this fucking guy. This happens
listen,
all the time.
You gotta catch me when I'm not like in the middle of it. If I'm in the middle of it, and then you're just like, shut it down, and I wasn't able to get what I was originally talking about out, then that's when I might have some issues preventing myself. Well, if you catch me, the day before and say, hey, tomorrow X, Y, and Z is going to happen. These people are going to be here. We can't talk about this. Okay. That's what you got to do. You got to preemptive me.
Joe, so this is true story, people. Joe, do not bring up to my aunt or anyone about her being adopted. Do not bring up about her biological father. Don't bring that up. The day before. Day of.
Listen, this is exciting news.
Enter, walk in the door, aunt. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. Oh, I heard about your biological dad. Wow,
It was good news. It was good news.
So,
I didn't
I don't
understand.
think what you said actually makes any.
Listen,
point
that
at
was
all.
like 3 years ago.
Okay.
I'm a different
Okay.
person now. I can have a better understanding of my ways of thinking, I guess. I don't know.
No, you don't. You're still the fucking same way.
Well, then, I don't know. Go marry somebody else. I don't know what to say. Listen, I'm letting you know. I'm putting it out on air that I'm willing to do these if they're taken preemptively. We
All
have
right.
these
So
conversations.
then on this podcast, then I'm going to tell you that moving forward, I no longer want you to talk about COVID around my family ever again. No more.
Hold on. You want me to not talk to your family about COVID?
Yes, because they don't want to hear it, and they've told me. So I'm speaking for them.
I wish they'd tell me themselves, but
I'm
okay.
speaking for all of them.
Fine. But if it comes up, then what do? I say, oh, I'm not allowed to speak about this in front of your family. Huh?
Well, I'm going to have to talk to Melton.
You
because
got to
that
talk
guy
to
talks
everybody.
about-
We
that
all
guy
got to
talks about politics and then forget about it.
Openness. Why can't we all just have an open conversation with 10 people from the family and say, hey,
We've had these open conversations.
No, we
and
have,
It
and
ends
they've
up that
been-
people get frustrated and walk away with a glass of wine.
right. That's because it's in the middle of
You
it.
stress them out so much.
That's because it's in the middle of it. Now, maybe the next time, now that we're talking about it, they come over. One of the first things, we have everybody sit down, we have a nice fire, everybody's nice, we have a nice dinner. We openly have a conversation about like, hey, like, from now on, I'm not going to talk about whatever. I just want everybody to be aware of this, and I hope that you guys do the same, because they have to do the same.
Oh, they will.
They have to not talk about it.
I have to talk to Melton. Everybody else do the same.
Good luck. I don't know, because
Milton's
I
the
never
only
actually bring it up. I'll tell you that. I'm never like, well, so about fucking COVID, it's fucking crazy out there. I never do that.
No,
It's
it's true,
everybody
you
else
don't.
talks about it, and then I start speaking, quote unquote,
It
the
is.
truth,
It's everybody
and
else
then nobody
talks
wants to hear
it,
about it.
and then he hears it, and then he jumps in, and then once you
I'm
jump
not saying
in,
anything
you can't-
that is on the news, so they're like, fuck you, stop, I can't, it's hurting my ears. And then that's what happens.
Speaking of, have you called Melton to apologize?
I have called him. He didn't pick up the phone. And I'll call him again. And I'm really apologizing. It's like,
Melton is my dad. Everyone knows that.
I
His
don't want
father-in-law.
anybody to like feel bad about any conversations that I have with them. So that's really it. It's not that I'm like not still believing the things
No,
I
your
believe in.
apology or speaking to him, and this actually does have to do with the truth and everything like that, right? Was really because of this has to do with the truth, but it also has to do with you wanting to have discussions and do it in a way where everybody can talk and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And that's something that I jumped in and said, I'll do that, but I will make sure that I'm respectful as I'm going about that. And you're like, yeah, so am I. What you're apologizing for is the lack of respect that you had when you were speaking to Melton.
Lack of respect about like
Now,
the
lack
way
of
that
respect,
he thinks about certain
lack
things.
of respect for somebody else's feeling.
See, now if you want everybody to communicate and think the same way you think, then maybe they should all go to the same schooling that you went to so that they understand all the details of like how to communicate properly with different individuals. Not everybody has that skill. I'm trying my best to develop that and understand and be aware, but I don't have the schooling, and most people don't.
Wait a minute, hold on. Time out. I am not talking about schooling. I'm talking about fucking empathy. I'm talking about just fucking feelings. You mean to tell me that you have to go to school to learn about just fucking being respectful of somebody else's feelings?
Hold on. When we're talking about feelings, like what are we talking about here in this specific
for example,
one? Not an example. This specific one.
I think that's an example of the specific
What
thing.
are the feelings that I'm like
the
disrespect?
example of the disrespect of the feeling, right? Okay, conversation. Someone's talking about you know how someone thinks and believes about COVID and what's going on. You know where they stand. You know it's not going to change. Okay? That's what's happening. But they take it very seriously and they're very, okay? While they're speaking about it and mentioning things that they believe to be true, because it's their truth and their everything, that they believe to be very serious and concerning, you come in the background and start being sarcastic and mocking what they're actually saying in a sarcastic voice. Disrespect.
Right.
That is what you did to Melton.
Right. And then the week later, then everything that I said in a sarcastic voice comes to fruition, such as, all of a sudden anybody can just go to work if you have COVID. Like these are the sarcastic remarks, supposedly, that I'm saying that are like, that actually are quote unquote true.
Joe, it
because they're
doesn't
actually
matter if they
happening.
come to fruition or not. What I'm focusing on is really just simply just being respectful to somebody else's feelings and thoughts about something.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Even if it comes to fruition, guess what? It's up to them to fucking make those connections.
That's fine. So let me flip this, right? In reverse, because there are two sides of the coin.
I just want everyone to know that this is an actual argument slash.
There wasn't really an argument
conversation.
between me and your dad. It was a conversation.
Meaning just how we're talking right now. This is literally how we speak in our daily life. You're probably not seeing me get really frustrated with Joe and shut down.
Because we're on a podcast. This is why I do it here.
Because typically that would happen, just to be honest. Okay? We're on a podcast, and now I got to keep going.
Okay, so your dad feels the way he feels about like the vaccine, and everybody needs to get the vaccine, blah 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 blah, right? Maybe, and not even maybe, actually, I'm thinking in my head, my truth is that you're wanting everybody to get this vaccine that you don't know what it's going to do to them in 20 years. So to me, in my mind, I'm like, that's disrespectful to force people to do that or force me to. I'm the one that should be freaking. I'm the one causing all this stuff because I don't have the vaccine.
Yes.
So it's the exact same thing.
I agree. I actually agree, which is why.
So
Which
who's
is why I
going to
also
apologize to who?
Which is
That
why
hurt my
I also
feelings.
said that I do have to speak to Milton because I do believe that.
Listen, I was just being sarcastic there.
No,
that doesn't
but
hurt my feelings.
No,
I don't
no,
give a fuck. I like that conversation.
Yes, I know it doesn't, but I do hear what you're saying, and you make a valid point. Which is why I also want to talk to Milton about, hey, how about we just don't even talk about this shit?
I'm fine with
that.
At this point, we don't need to anymore because everybody can just watch it play out because we've been doing it for long enough. And this is where the other day, I mean, I kind of want to talk about this, but I kind of don't. But
what is it though?
About the conversation that we had about with your mom upstairs, and then it just went into this
about what?
Where
oh, she got really pissed.
I'm trying to just.
Joe had a week where my parents literally just wanted to have nothing to do with him at all.
I'm trying to just say okay, so X, Y, and Z has happened over the past 2 years. 2 years ago, this is how I saw it playing out, and this is what I thought was going to happen. And I knew that if my daughter got it, she wouldn't die. I knew that if I got it, I would be perfectly fine. I knew that if my wife got it, she'd be perfectly fine, right? I'm only talking about my world, right? And so I make decisions on my world, right? But what I'm trying to say is okay, so until the news says exactly what I just said, then I'm a fucking crazy person. But when the news says it, they've been starting to say it, people with the vaccine are getting fucking the virus, freaking all these other things. People are going back to work with the fucking virus, and everybody's nonchalant about the fucking virus now all of a sudden, where I was why couldn't we have done this 2 years ago when we all knew it was a virus and it wasn't killing as many people as they were saying it was killing, and blah, 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 blah. And I've been saying this, and it's not that I want credit for it. I just
really?
want
Because that's how it comes off. Then
I know that's how it comes off, and this is me trying to figure out how to communicate better with people. But I just want people to see. It could have been you spelling it all out and saying, look at what has gone on over the past 2 years. Can you realize what's fucking happening right now? It could have been anybody. It doesn't have to be me. I just want that person that I'm talking to recognize how crazy this has been. Anyways, Leah's needs her glasses or something. She's staring at the screen.
I can't see from far away.
Anyways, so yeah, that's that. We've really, kind of, and this is a good podcast, I feel, but I don't know if it's we've kind of strayed off of
has to rate the podcast every time.
I don't know if it's kind of, because we could have gone down many paths of the.
What path did you want to go down? The only fucking path that you were determined to go down is the path of the government and politics and that truth. I'm willing to go down all the other fucking paths but you're right back to politics and the government, and I'm fuck the government.
Listen. As these podcasts go on, I'm absorbing. I'm trying to listen to myself. I'm listening to you. We're having conversations about different things, and I'm trying to figure out for myself why I do the things I do, why I say the things I do, and all these other things. And as we go along, I'm starting to realize that you're right. Government comes in. Why does government come in with me? I'm still trying to figure this out, but here is my initial thoughts on it, is that it's everything is just connected. And all I do is we talk about this red cup right here, and where my mind always goes is we could talk, you'd be like, oh, that's a cool color red. And I'm like, yes, it's made out of plastic, right? And then you know where I'm going to go, right?
No.
Oh, so then it's made out of plastic. All right, plastic has
all the negative things of plastic.
This is not BPA removed from this. Okay, who puts BPA in? All these other companies that. And what does plastic do? Plastic can cause cancer, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes back and back further into corporations, and then it goes back into government and how the government allowed them to create this plastic cup that you drink and you get cancer from. Boom. See, it just, everything goes back to that. Anything negative always goes back. Like, you can't be like look at like a happy baby and be like, oh, spin that back to the government. You're just
Okay,
like, that's a fucking happy baby.
Spin the right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So spin.
So I'm not gonna.
So spin the example of the person being molested by their grandfather back to the government. How does that get connected? I'm confused.
Oh, we talked about this. All right, so culturally and where? All right, so currently, social media kind of dictates culture. Them, the media, the TV shows, right? How are all these things paid for? By rich people who run these advertisement agencies that run the fucking social media.
Okay.
Those are a small group of billionaires that congregate together. How are they allowed to do certain things? How are they allowed to stifle people's freedom of speech on Facebook? Government.
Okay, but how does the person who was sexually abused by the grandfather have anything to do with the government?
Are you trying? Oh, we're like digging here. Did I go back to the government for that?
No, what you said that everything negative has to go back to the government. So
No.
what's?
I mean, most. All right, fine. You're taking it out of context, but okay.
No, I mean that's what you said.
I'm just trying to explain to you how a lot of my conversations end up being about the government. I think this cup was a perfect example, right? If you talk about your phone, it's usually like tangible products or devices or things that are happening.
Okay, so whenever we talk about
culture.
those fucking things,
Now,
all right, let's be clear. Got it. The other thing, though, that I do want to make a point about is that you're the person, too, though, that, like, ruins things. Like
ruins it or brings out what we should all be talking about.
Well, so on one side you're bringing out, yes, but on the other side you're also ruining, and I'm going to tell you how. For example, okay. So let's say I have a sweet little grandmother who comes over all the time to visit, right? And let's say every time she comes over with her sweet little self, she brings us little hot chocolates in this plastic cup, and in her mind she's doing something so great and so nice because she wants to come with her little cute self and bring us, her grandchildren, and all that.
I would never bring that up to your grandma.
Okay, and then here she comes, blah blah blah, and then what? Because I have heard you, actually, I have seen and heard you when people have come over, let's say, and brought maybe a dish or a meal or something of that sort, or we've gone to someone's house like my aunt or something like that. You won't say it to their face, but to me, you'll be like, do they have any chicken instead of me? And I'll be like, I mean...
Right, I say it to you. I'm not rude.
I don't know if she like fucking made chicken for us, Joe. Like, just fucking eat that. And then it's like this thing where it's like, oh, chicken. Because it's like, well, my aunt fucking slaved really hard, though, over the fucking stove because she wanted to prepare this really great meal for us and she had no idea, poor thing.
And have I ever not eaten that delicious meal? No. I've eaten it every fucking time because it's so fucking good and I go home and I shit my pants.
That's true.
So I do that. And I know older people too, like my grandmother, if she brought over my grandmother's dead now, but like
lobster roll on regular bread.
Right. Hey, she could be gone tomorrow. Let's eat this shit. I'll fucking deal with it.
Drinking coffee out of a plastic.
Listen, if it was every day.
Microwaving food in a plastic container in the microwave.
Listen, so many things I used to talk to my dad about because my grandmother she had Alzheimer's, but there was a lot of things that she could have been doing to minimize that or bring some of the connect some more of the synapses, like taking lion's mane or not eating fucking shitty food every day that my dad brought her, but at some point it's out of my control and I'm not there every day. But when I did live in Rhode Island, I actually used to go there all the fucking time and I used to bring healthy things and I used to do things for her to make her start thinking again. And I used to bring music and headphones so she could listen to the TV and stuff like that, all kinds of things. So I would do my part, but no, I get it. I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings, but listen, the truth hurts sometimes.
Yes, I agree.
Right? And you can't go around fucking
no, I'm not saying
catering to everybody's fucking feelings.
I'm not saying to do that, but I also
kind
say
of are.
No, I'm not saying to do that because
with certain people.
What
certain people.
I'm sorry that I believe that, I mean, like, I'm not going to fucking tell an 85-year-old grandmother who's coming to bring me fucking coffee in a plastic fucking cup that what she's doing it. No.
Well,
and
even
it's
your
like,
70-year-old dad, though.
Come on.
Even your 70-year-old dad, though.
I'm not going to tell him either. He's my dad. He's doing something out of the kindness of his little heart.
No, your dad's great. Listen, I don't even think in his mind, he's probably like, everything's perfectly fine.
Right.
Like,
That's what, which
so,
I think many people also think that too. So, I mean.
Listen, everything's fine. All right. We do have some questions here. Or
questions?
Oh, it's my sister.
So many of them.
I
Jesus
can't
Christ.
read
I
all
can't
this.
read all this. This is
Can't
just
read
too
all
much.
It's like a whole.
Who's the last
She's
person?
writing another book on here.
Oh, okay. That's no one.
Yeah. Sorry, Kim. We're in the middle of a podcast. But thank you for commenting.
In the middle of a
We'll check it out after.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I was going to go somewhere and then I just got sidetracked.
Yeah. I mean, all right, we can go a little bit in a different direction with like the truth thing where I actually really wanted, I really didn't want to go down the fucking government path. But it's just, it occurred to me the other day that we live in a society where individuals' truths within themselves are to be avoided at all costs. For the most part. Like, it's hard for me to find friends that just literally want to, here I am, I don't care, I just met you the first day. Bleh. Whatever you want to talk about. There's nothing that we can't sit here and talk for 3 hours about. Like, I don't know why people avoid it, because once you go down that path and you're honest with yourself and you know what's going on, and if people tell you something about yourself, like, you actually take it into consideration and like want to, if it's something that you perceive as negative or whatever, you want to actually like
but not everyone
modify
wants
that.
to.
I
Or
know.
Not everyone not only
Why?
wants to, but not everyone knows that they have to.
Why?
I mean, again, if I was living a
Because of
certain life,
environment.
right? If I was living a certain life and living a certain way, then I don't know anything else but that.
Then let's go deeper, just to prove my point here. And why is the environment in most houses like that?
Well, that also has to do with the way that the caregivers are people who were raising people in that environment were also raised.
Yeah.
So, and then that's how they were raised.
And why were they raised? And why is
and then it's how they
and
were
why
raised.
has it
And then
gotten
it's how they were
and
raised.
why has it gotten
And
more
that's
and
how they
more
were
in
raised.
avoidance? Because I can guarantee you, if you lived in the early 1800s, if you weren't honest about the fucking Indian tribe that was right around the corner, or the fucking like lion,
the apple that you stole from the apple that you took from the market on the corner.
Sure, whatever.
Fucking
Or-
hand chopped off.
I'm talking about before the markets and shit, like the fucking lion that is right outside, and you didn't tell your fucking family about that shit, and it fucking ate the grandmother. Like, this is what I'm talking about. That's so you think about, that's where it started, right? Way before the fucking Jesus. We're talking about way before the 1800s or whatever. But like, I'm just talking about. Remember, you've seen movies where people are like living in small little cottages, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little town with like fucking 50 people in it, and they got pigs and whatever, and that, like, if you lied, then the whole fucking town knew that you fucking lied about some shit, right? Or told a truth that was skewed or whatever the fuck it was. Everybody fucking found out at some point. So if you were not honest, and I think it's accountability at this point in our history of human evolution, right? There is a lack of accountability. So maybe there's something within me, as whatever, whether it's numerologically, it's just how I was born or how I was raised, I don't fucking know, that like spots these things out in individuals. And I can't stop myself from being like, oh, you don't see that thing inside you? Have you looked into this? Do you want to talk about this right now? You don't want to? Oh, okay. Like, maybe there's certain individuals out there that are meant to be on this earth, that are meant to like push a little bit. Because if nobody did that, we'd all just, all right, I guess I'll just go into La La Land. And maybe that's where we're going. Maybe that's where this metaverse is going, right? The new Facebook fucking metaverse is where everybody can just, nobody can make fun of anybody. And we just like, it's whatever. And don't worry about being honest or truthful or not truthful or whatever. It doesn't, in your world, you can be whatever the fuck you want and nobody's going to bother you. And you can make your own friends that think the way that you think and you don't have to be challenged on your thoughts, you know? What kind of society is that?
But some people would love that.
Of course they would. You know why? Because it's avoidance of all their actual real fucking shit that they need to resolve in themselves
Yeah, I know that.
to function as an actual member of society, to be productive and actually contribute to the world. So instead, they
if
go into
that's
this little world.
But if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do.
But imagine if fucking the majority of the population of the world started doing that, right? Then what? Then we're all in this world where nobody la 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 la.
I mean,
and then there's like horrible things happening to like the human race, but nobody gives a fuck about it.
I don't know how. I mean, I can't predict the future, so I have no idea. But I mean, just from being, let's say, in the field of stuff like that, I got to tell you, I feel like there are a lot of people out there who actually, do want to hear the truth and who are willing to.
No. And maybe these are particular people. Like, I look at the human race as kind of like.
But again, then there are people that don't even know that what you're talking about is the truth because they have their own truth, because their brain is perceiving things differently, and their brain is creating a narrative that is very opposite from, let's say, your narrative, because that's what the brain does.
Then you just go back to fucking just the society that does whatever, and it doesn't matter what the fucking rules are.
But I'm not talking about rules on that level. I'm talking about something definitely different. Like a stop sign's a stop sign. Fine. Like it's there. It's fact. Stop sign's meant to stop.
How about this fact? We'll go back to your molestation thing, right? If, say, you got molested when you were a kid, right? But you were in total avoidance of like actually fucking talking about it. Mm-hmm. Explain briefly what that looks like when you're an older person. In trying to be a productive member of society?
I mean, in a nutshell, you're going to have most likely some unhealthy behaviors in terms of reacting irrationally, defensively, anger.
Overly emotional, maybe.
Some probably overly emotional, hypersensitive, or it can go the polar opposite. It could be completely numb, disconnected, dissociated.
Okay, good. So, is it not as a culture, or even just as a small family or one member of the family or whatever, is it not ultimately, whether that person knows it or not in that moment, beneficial for that person, for somebody to come up and talk to them and have a conversation, whether it be a therapist or whatever? I'm not
saying it's not going to be beneficial, but what I'm saying is people are going to be willing to see the truth of their life, whatever that is, when they are ready and when their brain is ready to do so. That's actually, I want to be clear about that. When your brain is ready to do so.
And now if you have a whole society that is based in avoidance of doing exactly what you said, that person will never come around to wanting to do that. And then maybe they might have kids, and then they pass some of these traits onto them.
Yeah, that happens now. Happens
and
today.
so on,
That's
and
how it
so
goes.
on.
Yes.
So,
that's the world that we live in today.
So what's the truth, though? The truth is that person got molested. They have issues. They're going to keep passing it down unless they decide to fucking figure things out, right?
That's the big word here, unless they decide to do that.
Right. But environment has something to do with the decision, right?
I mean, if they're, let's say, if they have other people in their lives who they're around in their environment every day who are also, let's say,
avoidant,
disconnected or avoidant or whatever, then they're not going to really see anything wrong with it because, they don't have anyone coming up to them and being like, oh, hey, like this isn't cool. Yeah.
And never mind that, even if you did have people in your family saying that you should go to therapy, there's a culture and a society that's developing right now outside of that where you can just go in this little world of virtual reality and not have to.
You know why? I guess, for me, why I guess I'm just kind of like, okay, then that's the case. Is because I'm like I just realistically know that like
Because you want, I mean,
what?
this was a joke, but basically you're just going to stay with the job for the rest of your life, forever. I mean, like,
What job? Wait, what are you talking
like
about?
your, what that world, this metaverse or whatever is creating is people that are going to need to see you for the forever. Like there are going to be more and more and more and more people that need to go see therapy, and at some level, and maybe eventually you would lose your job because people would be so avoidant of it that it would be stupid to go fucking figure your own shit out. That could, I mean, 100 years from now, that could be true. I don't know.
I mean, I don't really give a shit about my job in terms of like losing it. If I lost my job, I'd be like, fuck.
No,
that
I get it.
sucks.
I
But
get it. I'm not I'm just saying in general.
But I'm really
like,
focusing on
therapists.
like, I guess the reason why I for me, I look at it as so like, all right, well then that is the case. All right, well then they fucking keep doing that. All right, well then they live a fucking life where they're avoiding. It's because for me, I'm like, to each his own. And if that's the life that you're gonna live, then fucking live it, man.
I agree.
I don't know what else to fucking tell you. Do what you gotta do. I don't spend time in what other people are. If that's the route you wanna go for it. Go for it. Whenever you're ready and whenever your brain is ready to enter some type of reality of yours or truth, then cool, I'm here. Until then,
I totally agree, and I think that like the way that you're thinking and talking is a lot easier than the way that I think and talk, which I'm envious of.
yeah, I just choose
Because-
not to like invest so much energy in things that
Yeah.
I can't control.
Well, I think my the way that I think is just more encompassing of like humanity.
It is, but at the same
Right.
time, I choose to not exert so much energy on things that I can't control.
I
Your
agree.
energy
No.
gets focused on things that you're trying to like change or control, when understand we're talking about a society. We're
No,
talking about other people.
Listen.
We're talking about different I can't control what somebody else chooses to fucking do.
We just had this conversation. This is why I don't think like that. I don't try and control. I don't try and, because I understand that it's an overwhelming task to change the fucking world. That's crazy. So, once again, I explained before, I do my part. And my part is just very natural, and I just have discussions about whatever it is, like the discussions we have on this podcast, right? And if people want to listen, they can. If they don't, they don't. I talk to people in real life as well, and they don't have to listen to me either. And I'm not trying to change the world. I'm trying to, what I believe is maybe I'm in avoidance of an inevitable culture that is to be this metaverse thing, and maybe I'm the one that's wrong, where maybe I'm stupid for like having all these thoughts and like not wanting to just avoid all of my internal feelings and what's wrong with me. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm the dumb one, and time will tell, right? But how I feel right now is that I have a point, and that point to me culturally is important to understand yourself. Right? That's it. That's really it. And once you understand yourself, you can, I mean, this is what you do for a living. You get people to understand themselves. Why do you do it? Why do you even do it? There has to be a reason, because they become better people and they're more aware of themselves, and there's more to
but
life.
I do it because people also ask me to.
Right.
I want to be clear.
But you also enjoy helping people.
For someone who wants the help, yes, it's very enjoyable.
For somebody who wants the help, right?
Totally
See-
enjoyable. I love that shit.
Right. And this is why I think that I should have become a therapist, because
You would
then
suck.
people would...
You would suck. You'd be
Listen,
the worst
maybe if
fucking
I
therapist.
had 7 years of schooling like you or whatever, maybe I wouldn't suck so bad, right? But
That'd be awful.
here we are. Anyways, I think this was a great podcast.
Can you stop rating
No,
these
I
episodes?
like to rate them. I like to...
Why?
Because like it's a personal thing for me. If I put out some like stuff that's like not I don't feel like anybody's like can gain anything from it or whatever, then what are we doing? It's really, we're just talking. We're just having a conversation. And that's what we do most of the time.
Because sometimes it's good just to do that, you know.
Well, that's why we have some podcasts that are like, meh, whatever, we're just talking about fucking coffee or whatever. But, you know, I like days like this where I feel like I got a lot out there and I actually made some good points to my quote unquote truth. You know, and you're right. It's up to everybody to make that decision. But, you know, that kind of like really, I think we painted a good picture today of what can happen if you decide to go whatever truth. You can believe that fucking whatever. You can believe that fucking government loves you and they do everything for you and everything is right that they do. Fine. Go ahead. It's fine. That's fine. Time will tell. and also like history. I mean, man,
You can't get into this
yeah,
right
and
now.
then we go
have to
into
shut it down.
But you know, we kind of went into it with like how environment can pass on to environment, it can pass on to the next
Like,
generation.
Either I'm like really blind or my hair looks so good right now.
Oh my god,
I don't really even know.
it does look good. I told you it looks good.
Damn, like it's a great product.
I did tell you that it looks good yesterday, and you were just like, yeah, whatever, right? And you're asking me, like, I say things all the time. This is what I'm saying. I say things all the time, and you're just
No,
like,
I heard you
yeah,
say
but if
that.
your dad said it, you'd fucking make a post about it. My dad said my hair looked fucking great. Look at it. Look at him looking at it. Take multiple pictures. You know, I say shit. You don't even remember that I fucking said it, and then you get mad at me because you think that I don't say shit.
I heard you say my hair looked good yesterday, actually, and the reason why I came off so nonchalant was because I agreed with you. So I was like, I know, totally. it
You would
does.
also agree with your
I was
dad.
like, it
You
totally
would also
does.
agree with your dad, but that would be a huge fucking post.
No, with Melton, I'd be like, oh my God, Dad, you think that? My God, thank you.
Do you want to talk about the? Oh yeah, let's talk about the new courses that you're taking,
Oh, yeah. So,
and then we'll talk about what your dad thinks after.
well, he does. Shit. So yeah, guys. So some cool things are starting, and as they start, then I'll be talking about them more in the podcast and kind of share with you guys just my process and like what I'm learning and what's going on.
Explain to them what you're doing.
Dude, I am like
Oh,
I'm
alright.
just like. I'm getting there. Jesus, my God. So as the process continues and I'm in it, I'll be able to share more about what I'm doing and what I'm learning with you guys. But so I am doing a program, a training through Harvard Medical School on psychedelics and psychedelic-assisted therapy. So I have that going on starting in February until about March, which I'm very excited about. And so I'll be sharing a lot of information, stuff like that I get from there with you guys. So I'm stoked. The other piece, fingers crossed, so you know, I guess we're all going to find out together. I applied for, so there is a organization called MAPS, MAPS, like a map, maps.org.
Yeah, go check them out.
They are like the, I guess really like the top like organization right now that is trying to work with the FDA to get psychedelics for therapy approved. Their focus is on like MDMA, and they have other drugs on there that they also use. And it's a really big program for clinicians or doctors, nurse practitioners to be able to get trained through them, so that we can then start utilizing and using psychedelic assisted therapy in our own practices. It's a program that you have to apply for. It's a program that if they do approve you, then you will only find out because you will get a approval, a acceptance letter. So I just submitted it. They have my information. I don't know how long it's going to take, so we'll see what happens. So I'll update you guys on that. But
MAPS is the leader in psychedelic
and let me also
therapy.
just make sure, because I always forget what the MAPS actually stands for. I'm sorry that
me too.
that I do that, but because I only know them just as MAPS, so I'm just like I forget everything else.
Also, the owner of MAPS, what's his name? Maybe it'll show up when you go on there. Anyways, he has been on Joe Rogan's podcast a couple times, and he has some really amazing.
Okay,
stuff to say on that.
Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, MAPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it say who the owner is on there? That guy.
Which guy?
It's that guy, but
But
it just shows
I
a
don't know
picture.
his
It just
name.
shows a picture of him. But yeah, that's it.
But also the programs, though, also so that I'm like clear on the work. Right. So the training that they do specifically through their organization is for the MDMA. So it's MDMA therapy training, and that's what I applied
Which
for.
is weird. Did they not have a psychedelic training, or is
Well,
that
MDMA
like?
is a psychedelic, but
Well,
they don't
yeah,
have
it's
like they don't have
shroom.
psilocybin.
Yeah.
They don't have. That's what it seems like. Unless maybe that's something that they're starting to like.
I think
also.
they might do it in like. I think
Also
they've already
do it,
done studies on that, and not experiments, but therapeutic tests and stuff like that.
Research, yeah.
Research with.
Okay,
other
no,
therapists.
yeah, they do. So their research has been on MDMA, marijuana, LSD. What's ibogaine?
Ibogaine is a great one. Yeah.
What is that? I know ayahuasca, but what's
click on it.
ibogaine?
I think it's it's actually
A psychedelic dissociative, tryptamine, other names iboga, onset of action 30 to 180 minutes, peak 18 to 36 hours, methoxybugamine. So is a psychoactive alkaloid naturally occurring in the West African shrub iboga. But what is it? Is there another name that it goes by?
No, I mean, have you
People
ever
with
heard of it?
problematic substance use have found that larger doses of ibogaine can significantly reduce withdrawal from opiates and temporarily eliminate substance-related cravings.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've heard of it before.
So it's big. Yeah, it's big in West Africa. It says, but I've never heard of it. Interesting. So so that's what they focus on. Are those?
Yeah, so they are the leader. They are for sure the leader. So with that one, you're actually going to a physical.
Yeah, so you have a choice. You have a choice of doing it, their online training only, which I really don't want to do, or they have a choice of doing a mixture of the physical and online. And so for their 2022 year, the physical would be, I think there's like 2 in Colorado and coming up in April or something like that. And then there's one in, I think, North Carolina or something, if I'm not mistaken. And then that's actually what it just depends on how you learn. I can't do a training like that and just like do it like online. Like for me, I'm like, I need to be in it. I need to see people, hand movements. I need to just be physically there. I need to talk to people physically and be like, what is going on? Discuss this shit and learn. So I feel like I can really, be able to implement it when I'm done, So I hope to get accepted. So we'll see.
Right. So that is exciting.
Yeah, that's
Super
exciting. Super exciting. Yeah, I just feel that at this stage of the game, 2022, with where we're at now, I don't know, man. It's like I've worked with, and for me, this is a perspective coming from just with the years that I've been a therapist, and just from what I've seen and from what I hear and just everything like that. And so for me, I'm to a point in my career where I'm like, it's got to be something else.
That's the future. It's the future.
Yeah, like it's got to be something else. I'm all for medication. When medication needs to be there, I get it. I'm all for it. I'm also all for holistic ways to go about things. I'm all for a whole bunch of other things that are out there now. But for me, I'm like, man, not everyone's the same. So, I can't really expect someone to, one person to feel great with their depression and anxiety, let's say, or PTSD through medication, and then somebody else feel the same way. Like, it's going to be different. There are some people who I do work with, who I have worked with, that I'm like, look, let's go the psychedelic route, just because of history or whatever, just how their brains even work, For me, it's really about when I sit with someone and I get an understanding of how their brain works, their thought processes, just their personality, everything, then for me, it better I'm better at then deciding in terms of a suggestion of what I think would be more effective, you know? And so I go kind of also based on that, like, all right, you know, and then we, you know, talk and see what happens. But at this point, it's time to bring in other drugs that are out there that have shown already to be able to help and that are very promising. And why not, right? We already know where, let's say, shrooms can get you, right? Where psilocybin can get you, even if you took it just for like a social thing. You know what happens to your brain. So think about if that's what happens to your brain when you're just socially on shrooms. Then man,
what if you were, like,
imagine if you were microdosing, right? You were microdosing, focus in a therapeutic setting, controlled environment. Right. The amount of fucking insight is just absolutely phenomenal, and also the amount of just restructuring of any perceptions, any labels that you have attached to a certain event. How the restructuring of that would happen at the rate rate that it can, you know. So
things become very malleable because when you're in there, it's so real.
Yeah.
That if you're with an expert like yourself, having those conversations, those deep conversations, they can be manipulated like instantly almost.
Right.
I mean, for myself, I think over the years, I've done shrooms and acid. Obviously recreationally, because we never had anything like this, but I think for people like myself, if you do them enough times, you get to a point where it's not so scary, and then you can actually start going in on yourselves, and you create the environment before you start taking them and all these other things. And this is what people have been doing over the years. The fortunate and unfortunate thing is back in the 70s, these things got restricted from use for medical use. And now, fast forward, we're at this point where you can actually go into a therapist's office like Aaliyah's and take some shrooms
therapeutically
and be in there for a few hours and figure shit out real fast, hopefully.
So, well, you can do that too, but mine is for MDMA, which is different.
Yeah. Well, you're doing both, right?
So the Harvard training is just for psychedelics in general, right? So psychedelic assisted therapy. It'll be all psychedelics that they use. It'll just talk about how psychedelics are used and what that does to the brain for therapeutic purposes.
But that's not
the actual training for MAPS is like, I'm actually going to them to get actually trained to be an MDMA assisted.
So you would have to take another course, preferably with MAPS on either LSD or
if they had a training for that, but they don't. So, they have all they have is MDMA.
Right.
You know,
okay.
Which to be honest, just based on. So I was young at some point, guys, and I did do recreational stuff when I was younger, blah, blah, blah. So just based on that stuff, I think to myself, well, I mean, MDMA, been there, done that when I was younger. Shrooms, been there, done that. LSD, been there, done that. Now, is there a difference in terms of like where my mind goes and what's happening? Yes. But the core of it, I feel like, is the same in terms of like what happens to your brain and just what is able to open, you know, the subconscious, like all of that to me is still so for me, I'm like the MDMA assisted therapy that I would be doing and that I'd be getting trained for. I feel like if I wanted to switch and do psilocybin, the therapy would be the same, just the drug would be.
It could be.
I don't know exactly because I don't know because I'm not there yet, guys. I'm still getting, but that's just kind of how I see it. Maybe it's different.
From my experience, I would assume that the LSD and the shrooms, the psilocybin, would be a more intense thing, a longer process than MDMA.
Yeah.
But they are also doing things like
but then it's also, these are also in doses these are like micro doses, right? So it's not like we're like getting you it's not like we're coming in and getting like a whole you know, getting all fucked up, right? So
which is that's pretty cool.
So the dosing is very different, you know? So therefore the effect is also probably going to also be a little different because the dosing's different.
I wonder do you know if they're taking it in a pill form or if they're
I don't know.
Because I've heard that
I saw people on a documentary doing it, and they were and they had the psilocybin in a capsule.
Yeah, well, if you smoke it, I've heard that it's like 15 minutes of like this intense, you're in this other world. It
Right,
could be,
right,
You know,
right.
I don't know. Maybe
I don't know though if it's like
because I don't even know if you can like talk to somebody when they're in that shit either.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a. I don't know. I don't
We'll
know.
find
I
out.
have to
We'll find out.
Hopefully, I get into it. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Okay. So now, all right. I thought they were both like courses. So the Harvard one is just more of like understanding and like.
No, Harvard is a course.
It is a course.
Yes, but it's
But
a course
you
on
can't-
psychedelics.
Or just
So
in general.
all
so you
psychedelics.
So
So they're going to touch all psychedelics and
Right.
get into every psychedelic out there and
But
the
would you be
assisted therapy.
certified to do the assisted therapy?
I'm going to
on
have a
psych-
certificate from that course.
Oh, okay.
But from the MAPS is like, that to me is like the real, that's like,
Because you're experiencing it. Yeah.
that's like an actual, I will be able to do actual MDMA assisted therapy after this 5-day, it's like a 5-day intensive format.
All right. So yeah, that's exciting because I believe this is like the future of therapy, and you know, we're also, this year is going to be a big year. We're going to incorporate some other things with that. Hopefully, we'll have a physical location some point earlier this year.
Well, I definitely will
Yeah.
because I have to.
Yeah. So and then we're going to
Enough with this
incorporate.
telehealth. Although I love the telehealth and I'm still going to utilize that, but
Then we're going to incorporate other mental health aspects into this new business, and it's going to be an exciting year, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
very exciting. All right, we are going to end. I'm getting really congesty.
You still got Corona.
I still got COVID, apparently.
I don't. Negative.
Joe's negative. So anyway, thanks guys for listening. I enjoyed speaking to you all today. Enjoyed being here through my migraine and tooth pain that I'm having right now.
Seriously?
Yeah.
The whole time?
My tooth pain is killer right now. Like
jeez.
dying. Yeah.
Okay. That was a good one.
It was a good one. Bye everyone.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.